with a lot of what you're saying about how, we educate ourselves and really understand what it is as opposed to what we've been taught and what we've been, like you said, indoctrinated to. But then that kind of brings me into kind of like the last portion, talking about womanhood. What do you think it means to be a woman in America?
Well, look at it this way. They took the word male for man, right?
Hmm.
And they added the chemical symbol for iron to it, Fe, and made the word female. So you add iron to a man and you get a woman. That's the way it is.
I love it.
Or you add the word woe, that means sadness, to a man and you get woman.
Well,
And
Daryl didn't
as women,
think sad.
what?
I said, obviously, Daryl didn't think he wasn't too sad. Not after 59 years.
No, they can't bother me anymore. And invariably, when I'm in control of the situation, they'll call me the B word, and I say thank you very much, and they go, "What's your problem?" Well, you see, for me, the B word is an acronym for being in total control, honey. BITEH. They call me that word. I laugh just like you're laughing right now. And then I say, "You're out of control, aren't you, darling?" Because it's always a male who calls me that, who is out of control. I'm in control of the situation. Yeah, well, thank you, thank you. Let me tell you what that word means to me. Being in total control, honey. How do you like me now? And he looks at me like, I think, go for it, darling. Just go for it.
Well,
I have a T-shirt. I have a sweatshirt that says, "Manure occurreth."
what does it
I
say?
gave it to my daughter. Manure occurreth, which happens. I gave it to my daughter. She gave it to her husband. He wore it to work.
Oh, no.
He made everybody shudder because here's this man in a T-shirt that says it happens. I love it. I'm going to get another sweatshirt that says, "Underestimate me." That'll be fun. I'm too
Wow.
old to put up with this nonsense, and I'm too old to believe any of it. I know
Oh,
what I am, and if they haven't figured it out by the time I'm with them for 5 minutes, they read I go through airports after I get done doing a job. I go straight to the airport and I wear this sweatshirt, which says, "Prejudice is an emotional commitment to ignorance." I walk through the airport, and men come toward me, and of course, the first thing men look at on a woman is her breast. You know that, and I know that. So they're walking toward me, and they go, and they get their faces puffed up like one of those bullfish, and they come on me, and "You're that blue-eyed, brown-eyed, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, I am. What flight are you on?" And they tell me, "Well, you and I are on the same flight, so I don't have to worry about you, do I?" And I go to the women's room. They won't follow me there. It's just fun. I wish I had a camera on and a cap when I walk through the airport, because some people go, "Gas, gas," and tell me, "Thank you, water, yeah." So, bitch. Sorry, honey. I mean, it's a drink, but I'm always glad that they can read, because these are big words. And lots of people can't read such big words. Our president wouldn't be able to pronounce these. He would have trouble with PC. It would be difficult for him.
No, he'd be too busy reading the upside down Bible.
Look at it this way. Women are the stronger sex. Most of the men that you and I know will be dead 20 years before we are. They have a shorter lifespan because they aren't as healthy, they aren't as strong as women. Men aren't as strong as women. God didn't choose to give men the problem of bearing and giving birth to children. That was given to the stronger sex. And until 10,000 years ago, women were running the show. And you need to read Naomi Wolf's book about that. I can't remember the name of it, but go to my website and look and download the bibliography and find Naomi Wolf and read the book that she wrote about women, about here's the way it really happened 10,000 years ago. Women were running the show, and then men got arms. And I don't mean these arms, I mean something to kill with. and they started doing that, and they took over because of their physical strength. But before that, women were running the show. Now, within 30 years, women will once again be running the show because men don't live long enough, and men, generally speaking, don't know the listening skills. They don't have quiet hands, feet, and mouths while you're talking. They don't keep the eyes on the person who's speaking, particularly if it's a woman. They don't listen from the beginning to the very end, and they don't decide to learn something. They're thinking about something out the window, or who they're going to grab, or something other than what the speaker is saying, particularly if it's a woman. Now, am I misinterpreting what's going on?
I'm laughing because I have these two strapping men standing here right now listening, and one of which is my husband. That's why and he's laughing too.
Hey, look, I like men. I am not prejudiced where men are concerned. Some of my best friends are men. Have you heard those before? But they're different from the rest of them. In fact, if a man my husband's age walks past me wearing Old Spice deodorant or shaving soap today, I will pursue him as far as to the men's room because he's in big trouble. I will run him down and I will wear him down. Make no mistake about this. I love men in their proper place. And it, for me, is doing the dishes, washing the clothes, cleaning the floor. That's where men's proper place is, as well as where you make you the most comfortable. Oh, well. You can see that I'm just a wee bit frustrated.
And then you sit back.
I miss my husband.
Now my work is done.
Take care of your husband. He's not going to live long.
Oh, God. He's about ready to fall out right about now. Oh, my God. Let's hope he can make it through the rest of this interview. But that brings me to one of my last.
If he can't, tell him he's invited to come to my house. We'll run as fast as he can. I'm not going to that house.
Yeah,
anyway, go right
come to your house. I'll make sure he's not wearing Old Spice. That's for sure.
Oh, don't let him. I'm serious about this. When I smell Old Spice, I get all over.
Okay, honey, I'm gonna do something. Come here. Come say hello to Miss Elliott. Here he is.
Hello, Mrs. Elliott. How are you?
Hello. Oh my! You have brown eyes like my husband. Get away from me! He's just doing that to make me uncomfortable.
Wait. So am I in trouble now? Am I in trouble now? I just want to know.
No, but he is. He's too young for me. That's all right. You can keep him. He's too young for me. I have to have someone my age, and there are none around. We're
gonna have to find you somebody with some Old Spice. I would say my dad, he still wears Old Spice, but unfortunately he's taken.
Well, I don't want somebody who's taken. I want to be the one who takes. I don't want him taken.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have to hook you up. How about that? Maybe our next interview.
Don't just look me up. Hook me up. Did you hear?
You want me? You know what? I think I might have to hook you up. I'm going on the hunt now. That'll be my next mission.
Okay, that's your job, to find me a male who is my age, so
brown eyes.
I won't die much before he does. With brown eyes. He's got to have brown eyes. And he has to have some other characteristics, but skin color isn't a problem. I'll take whatever color you can find, even pale face. You know? I don't dislike pale faces. Some of my best friends are pale faced, but they're different from the rest of them. You ever heard that one before?
On occasion.
On occasion, yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
I'll never forget the liberal white woman who said to me, "I don't dislike blacks. When I see one, I just say, there but for the grace of God go I." And I came unglued, and I'll bet she'll never say that again as long as she lives. There but for the grace of God go I, when she sees a black person. In other words, God woke up one morning and decided to make something beautiful, so God made her.
Wow.
That's one of those racist statements that I say that I hear all the time. And then somebody will say, when I talk about evolution, somebody will say, well, what about the Adam and Eve story? What about the Garden of Eden? And I say, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's take a look at that. According to the creation story, God picked up dirt out of the Garden of Eden. And dirt in the Garden of Eden had to be black because it was made out of rotted palm fronds. That's what happens when vegetation rots and lays for a long time. It turns dark brown or black. So obviously the first man made by God was black. He made Eve out of Adam's rib. All bone tissue is white. So Eve was white, but you want to remember, she was made out of a black man. Now, do you want to talk about this more? Well, I think you've interpreted that wrong. I said, hey, and when you say God made man in his own image, that doesn't mean he made man to look like God. God has neither gender nor color. God is a spirit. It means God imagined something walking on 2 feet with a brain. Now, in some of us, he forgot the brain part. But he got the 2 feet wandering around teaching.
Wow. Oh my
She
God.
didn't like that explanation at all, and I'll bet she
I'm
didn't
sure
want to
she
do that
didn't,
again.
but I'm sure
Yeah.
she was very enlightened.
No, see, we used enlightened to mean lighter. She didn't get any lighter. She's about as light as you would get. I wanted her to be endarkened. You see, eventually the whole thing becomes so ridiculous that when you talk about it, you fall out laughing because how can we be this dumb? In 2020, we're still believing this lie, and it makes no sense. You can't prove it. You can cut open all the people. Oh, that teacher in the film How Racist Drive You that we did in London. I didn't know she had said it, but during the lunch hour, she said, I've been a teacher for 20 years. And they put this in the film because they were filming during the lunch hour, and the blue-eyed people had to eat someplace away from the rest of us. She said, I've been a teacher for 20 years. And we had a black girl in our school, and she got hurt on the playground. And she got cut on the playground. And I went out to help. And I was surprised to see that she was pink under the skin, just like the rest of us.
Wow.
She said that, and they've got it on tape. They've got it on film. You ought to take a look at that film and see that fool saying that. And they didn't tell me that she had said it, because if they knew, if they told me that she said it, I would have made her into mincemeat, very pale mincemeat. But I would have let her know that if she was so ignorant as to think that people of color aren't the same color under the skin that she is, she needs to go back and take a course in Biology 101.
Right.
What an insane thing for anyone to say. Or this one, when I see you, I don't see you black. When somebody says that in my presence, I say, wait a minute, wait just a damn minute here. Do you see her green? Well, no. You see her orange? Well, no. Well, what do you, I just don't see her right. In other words, what she's saying is, I am so repulsed by the color of your skin that I'm going to pretend you aren't that color, and then I can relate to you because I've changed you into a different color. I don't see you black. Nobody says that kind of thing around me anymore because they know, oh, she's going to come unglued, and they know that I'm going to do what Frederick Douglass told us to do. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. And he says, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Find out what any people will quietly submit to, and you will have found out the exact measure of injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them, and these will continue until they are resisted with either words or blows or with both. Those people who are out in the streets in all those major cities in the United States are doing exactly what Frederick Douglass told them to do. Who was it said, the only thing necessary for the perpetuation of evil is for good people to do nothing. Mm-hmm. All good people have to do is sit back and do nothing. And if you want some really good information about how we developed segregation in this country, read this book. And you'll find out that segregation, for the most part, is de jure segregation put in place by lawyers who didn't know that there was only one race, who were
Yeah.
convinced of the myth of race. Read this book. It points it out chapter and verse. And after you read this, you can't deny that what has been going on in this country is pure, unadulterated racism. And people need to read this book. It's just fantastic.
Yes.
The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Well, but my last one, and then we were just going to do a quick word association. But my last question is, what advice would you give to young women today regarding self-worth, self-esteem, as it relates to our current issue with equality?
Give up on equality.
Mm-hmm.
I will never be equal to any male on the face of the earth. I would have to lower my sights in order to be equal to males, because they don't have to know what I have to know, because this country is made for males. So forget about being equal to males and be what you are, which is way past most of them. Most women know more than most men do, and the reason we do is because we have to. Particularly, you need to know that my heroes are black women. And I'm not saying this to you because you're a black woman. I say this to every group I talk to, because black women have learned the skills of coping and getting along in situations that white women never have to endure. Black women are seeing what happened to George Floyd in a totally different light from the way white women are seeing it. Black women have to be smarter and more ambitious and more forgiving and more accepting and more Christ-like than any white women ever have to be. Colorless women could learn a tremendous amount from black women. I'll never forget the black woman, tall black woman at the University of Indiana, I think. I had a tall white male stand beside me and a tall black female stand beside me, and she was taller than he was. But we talked about differences. And I asked the audience, and these were all department heads and administrators.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first started, they introduced me, and some liberal white female in the front row said, "Why are we talking about differences? We are more alike than we are differences. Why then we are different? Why don't we talk about similarities?" I said, "I'll show you why we talk about differences." And I thought, I'm going to get you, witch. And I didn't think witch. Anyway, so I asked this man who I never met, well, she was trying to be in total control, honey, and I was the witch in that situation. She wasn't. Anyway, so I said, well, I didn't even know these two people I chose. They fit the needs. They fit my needs. I said, "Will you come up here to this tall, pale, stale male?" And I said to this black woman, "You come up here." Man stood on the left, woman stood on my right. And I said, "Now, folks, we're going to talk about differences. What's the first difference you notice here? What should they have said? In that situation, what should they have said?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the first difference you would notice? What?
The color. The color.
Color, yeah, obviously." And I thought, they'll say color, because these are people with PhDs. They said, height. I said, what? Height. Well, I didn't say it, but I was thinking, fools, you just failed the test once. So I said to this tall male, "Is your height important to you?" "Well, no." I said, "Wait a minute. Is it a gift?" "Well, no." "Did you earn your height?" "No." "Is it a physical characteristic over which you have no control?" "Yes." "Does your height give you power?" "Well, yes." "So is your height important to you?" "Yes." "Thank you." So ask this black woman the same thing. And she said, it doesn't give her power, but she said there are some other issues to deal with. I said, "We'll get to them." And I thought, wait, honey, because they are going to take this up. This is going to take a long time, because they are educated people and they don't know anything. So then I said, "You see another difference here, gender." So I said to this tall, pale male, they said sex. I said, "Is sex important to you?" "Wait, let me rephrase that. Is the fact that you're male important to you?" Because by then I had turned him into a male of color. He turned red immediately. I said, "Well, wait a minute. Is the fact that you're male important to you?" "Yes." "Did you earn it?" "No." "Well, does it give you power?" "Yes." "So you have power on the basis of your height and your gender, right?" "Well, yeah." And he's getting more and more belligerent. So I said to this black woman, "Is your height important to you?" "Well," she said, "yes, but there are some other issues to deal with." I said, "We'll get to it." I said, "Now, you see any other differences here?" So they said age. So we went through the age thing. But there's, all right. I said, "All right, now, is there any other difference that you see here?" And finally somebody said color. I said, "Thank you very much. That's the first time anyone has said color to me. Now, are you talking about hair color or skin color?" "Skin color." I said to this tall, pale male, I said, now, is your skin color important to you? And he said, I never have to think about it. That was exactly the wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
I said, did you earn your color? No. Is it an award? No. I said, are you afraid of anything? He said, I'm not afraid of anything. I said, okay, let's let this person talk. I said to this tall black woman, is your skin color important to you? And she said, and she paused a long moment, and she said, I'm going to say something I've never said out loud before. I said, and that would be, she said, I'm a mother, I have 2 children, and by this point there's one tear trickling slowly down the left side of that woman's beautiful black face. She said, I have 2 children. Both times when I was pregnant, I prayed that I wouldn't have a boy. I said, and that's because, she said, because I didn't want to think about what he'd have to go through, and I didn't want to think about what I'd have to go through when I lost him. There was a dry eye in that house. She was crying. I was a soup sandwich again.
Yeah.
And this man, the only sound that you'd heard was this man going, and I thought, cry, you miserable SOB. Look what you just put your foot in it, and now you swallow it.
Yeah.
That audience was absolutely mesmerized. And I said to them, she just taught you more in 2 minutes than I could teach you in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because she has lived a life that is entirely different from the life I live and the lives you live. I said, now, people, the next time you sing the Star Spangled Banners and you get to that last line and it says, oh, say does that Star Spangled Banner yet wave, or the land of the free, and I pointed to that white man and the home of the brave, because black women have to be brave in order to get through the day and to get through the night in this racist society. I want it changed so that nobody has to be brave to get up in the morning and think about sending their children out of their house to school or to church or to anybody else, anyplace else.
Wow.
I want to get rid of number 1, the White House. I want to call it the President's Residence. I want to get rid of the Star Spangled Banner. That's a racist poem, and if you read it, the second verse, you know it's a racist poem. I want to get rid of that. Somebody needs to write a new national anthem. I want to change the textbooks, the social studies textbooks, because what we're teaching is anti-social studies, and I want to educate the educators so that they realize they have been teaching racism for 300 years in this country. I want to stop, and I want it to stop now. And I want this man, this boy grown tall, out of his job. And I want every person of color, and that means every person in the United States. We're all people of color. I want all of them to vote to put this man back where he belongs. He came out of a hole somewhere, and I want them to put him back in there so he'll be comfortable around people that are like him. But he needs to remember when he's in that hole that he is surrounded by either brown or black dirt.
Wow. Wow. That is a powerful note to close on as far as our questions. What I wanted to do was I just wanted to do a word association with you. And I want you to just tell me what's the first thing that pops in your mind when I say these words. Okay?
Go ahead.
Legacy.
What?
Legacy?
What is it?
Legacy?
What did you say? Legacy?
Yes.
Oh, poverty.
Okay.
I'm serious. That will probably be that's the legacy I got from my father. And if things turn around, that's the legacy I'll leave my children. But it won't be a poverty of thought. It will be a poverty of money, but not of character.
Wow. What about ignorance?
Ignorance? Trump. Dinosaurus T. Rump.
Okay. Okay, the next word is influence.
Influence? Good idea. Good idea. If you can influence, proper influence can change the world.
Okay.
Bad
Faith.
influence can also change the world in a different direction. Go on.
Yeah. Faith.
What?
Faith.
Faith.
Mm-hmm.
Faith.
Yes.
The most valuable thing in my life.
Wow.
It is absolutely the thing that keeps me going, and it tells me it's the next dimension is going to be better than this one for me, but not unless I make it better for others around me while I'm still here. But in this dimension, I have to work in such a way that I'll be better off after this, and I think there is something after this.
Absolutely. What about family?
Family,
Mhm.
insanity.
Yeah. My cousin.
Cousin, yeah. You look at the family of men, and if that isn't insanity, I don't know what is. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's
Yes.
insanity. And that's what the family of men has been doing for 2,000 years.
Yes, ma'am.
At least 500. Go on.
What
What's
about
the
death?
next one?
Death?
Death, Death,
Yes,
much
ma'am.
to be desired and not to be feared.
Mm,
Nothing to be feared about that.
good. What about life?
Life, much to be desired and a lot to be feared. You can get hurt in life. You can't
Yes.
get hurt after you're gone. Life is risky. Life is risky, but wonderful.
Yes. Okay. What about love?
Overused.
Mm.
We use the word love in the most disgusting ways. I love brownie pudding with ice cream on it.
Mm-hmm.
I love a rainy night. I love a sunrise and I love a sunset. But I adored my husband.
Mm.
I could miss sunrise and sunset and I wouldn't miss him. But I miss my husband. So my love for sunrise and sunset and my children, my husband is very different from what I feel about sunrise, sunlit and a starry night, and a big moon rising in the east, and my husband and me watching that moon rise and just marveling at how lucky we were to be together and to watch that happen.
Wow.
So love is a very different thing for me than it is for most people. I don't overuse it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Freedom.
Freedom. For me, that means a better life for all of us, for every one of us. Freedom means the end of racism for me. We could have freedom in this country if we could end racism. And we could. If we could walk on the moon in 3 years after John Kennedy became president, we could have gotten freedom for all of us in this country within 3 years. And we could do it now if we chose to.
Wow. Okay. And my last most important word, Jane.
Kind of a kook. Kind of, what's her problem? Kind of, doesn't she do anything but sing all day? Tell her to shut her mouth. But, I know the words to practically every song that has been written since 1910. And I sing all the time. Most people call it caterwauling, but I call it singing.
Well, I will say this, Miss Jane Elliott. At the end of the day, I know you have endured a lot. I know you have experienced a lot being on this journey. And I know, and I've listened to enough of your interviews to know that you take no credit for the things that you've done. But I will say this on your behalf. As a woman of color, when I first discovered you several years ago, from the very first tape that I watched, it brought tears to my eyes because I finally was able to see somebody that doesn't look like me get it. I have friends, all across the rainbow, traveling abroad, even domestically. I've met people from all walks of life. And it took those experiences to realize that people are just people. And that I cracked up because it's a common saying within our community about who we invite to the cookout. So I want to let you know, Miss Jane Elliott, you have a permanent invitation to the cookout.
I'll bring the potato salad.
You know what? We'll even give you a pass. You've earned your right to bring we may not eat it, but you can bring it.
If I bring the potato salad, you will eat it. You won't be able to stop, I tell you.
No,
and I'll come to the cookout. But I'll come to the cookout if you'll do what they did in that movie about the restaurant and the guys makes the best barbecue they had ever eaten, and they finally figured out. You figured out when you were watching it. That's the cop that they cooked, isn't it? The cop or the sheriff or something or somebody. And this guy is doing the barbecue and all that. Everybody's just loving that barbecue, and he's grinning and kept right on serving the barbecue. I love that movie, and I love the movie. I love the movie The Help.
Oh
When
my!
he served her that pie.
Oh, that's another whole interview right there.
but I keep reminding those black people that we enslaved. They weren't slaves. They were black people who were enslaved, who sang songs about escaping, and we pale faces thought they were singing spiritual. That we thought they were singing, strange little black songs. What they were singing was about escaping. And we just thought they were isn't that wonderful? We didn't realize a black person can stand in front of you and say the most horrible things about you, and you don't even realize what's being said. Am I right about that? Yeah. Listen very carefully and think, is that what you're saying here? Okay, all right, I'll keep my mouth shut. It's just,
Oh my God.
When you realize that those black people left the equator and populated every landmass on the face of the earth without any modern technology.
Yes.
How in the world did they accomplish that? And their skin, their hair, and their eyes changed because they were responding to the natural environment. And I look at that, and I haven't traveled probably as much as you have, but oh my God, to leave there and walk, ride, drive, swim, whatever they had to do to get to all those other land masses, and they did it. And I'm quite certain that what makes me so determined is because if I trace my DNA back far enough, there's going to be that percentage of black.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not about to deny that part of my DNA.
Wow.
Which is the DNA which gives me the ability to keep on keeping on. Because I got that black. I've got that to depend on.
Well, I tell you what, we are so blessed and privileged, and I sure do appreciate you taking this time for one of my Shannon Ayers Speak segment of my Hello Beautiful. My goal is to uplift and to encourage women and girls to know their value and to know their worth. And just through this interview, I've listened to you a whole lot, but I tell you what, as much as I've listened to a lot of your other interviews and a lot of other recordings of you, this is especially special to have this conversation and to even be able to engage with you in this way. I told you we try to keep it uplifted and upbeat, and I think you made my head hurt laughing at you so hard. You are an incredible human being.
There's something you have to give up. There's something you have to give up. Give
Yes.
up the idea of white privilege.
Yes, ma'am.
Do not talk about white privilege anymore, because the person who wrote that paper didn't realize in 1987 that there's only one race. Have you read that paper? Every one of those, read it, because every one of it says things like, I can go where I want to go and not be treated badly because of my race. I can buy the house in the neighborhood I want to live in and not be refused because of my race, because of my race, because of my race, because of my race. Well, if you can do that because of your race, if she can do that because of her race, since we're all the same race, we should all have those same privileges, shouldn't we? She should have named that white ignorance.
Wow.
Because of the ignorance of people about skin color, I can do these things, not because of my race. It's because of my ignorance.
Wow.
And she was ignorant when she wrote that. And if she hasn't learned something about it now, she'd better do it, because she's older than I am. And not many people are. So stop talking about that privilege paper and say, because of my ignorance, because of white ignorance, because of pale-faced ignorance, because of the ignorance that we have, that we, white people, so-called white people, we pale-faced people had encouraged ignorance in children from preschool, from prenatally. We start encouraging children to believe in the myth of race. And that's because we're ignorant, not because we're privileged.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
And
Thank
they're going to talk about white privilege. So you get that, you get a copy of Peggy McIntosh's list of white privileges. Go on the net right now. When you leave me, go on the net and look at, and also look up this map. Go to odtmaps.com. There's the address, odtmaps.com. Go there and order copies of this map. And when you email your order in, tell them that Jane Elliott talked to you. And I don't get anything for selling these maps except the satisfaction of knowing that somebody has been educated enough to find a new way to look at the world.
But I thank you so very much. This has been awesome, awesome, awesome. I look forward to the opportunity of talking to you again. You keep doing what you're doing. And I mean, what you're doing is you're educating all of us, not just white folk, but you're educating all of us. And I thank you.
I'll keep doing what I'm doing because they'll keep doing what they're doing. It doesn't occur to them if they want to shut me up. All they have to do is shut up themselves. I've got a sweatshirt that says, never miss the opportunity to shut up. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Miss Jane Elliott. You've been awesome. And I'm looking forward to everybody seeing our conversation. Again, I appreciate it. I will definitely be in touch. And I'm hoping and praying that we will have the opportunity to meet again.
Okay, well, come anytime. Come anytime. And you won't have to wear a mask after you get in the house. Okay. All right, we're done, right?
You be blessed, Miss Jane Elliott. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
I hope so. Bye.
Bye-bye.